Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. In today's video I'm going to give you guys a 1 year update on my Stiphodon Hillstream Aquascape. As you can see, there's been a decent amount of algae growth in this aquarium. This necessarily isn't a bad thing, as the Stiphodon Gobies really love eating the algae. But for me, some of this algae is kind of ruining the view of my aquarium. I want to be able to see all the Stiphodon Gobies in my aquarium, so I think it's time to give the glass a little bit of a clean. Along with that, I think the whole aquarium just needs a little bit of a tidy up too. With that all being said, let's do a little bit of maintenance on my Stiphodon Hillstream Aquarium. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is siphoning out some of the water. Also, while I'm doing this process, I'm going to disrupt the substrate a little bit. Since Stiphodon Gobies grow throughout the day, they can be a little bit of a messy fish to keep. So by disrupting the substrate with a turkey baster, we can dislodge all the waste from the substrate into the water column. And when all that waste is in the water column, I can use my tube to siphon it all out. If you guys want to see how I made this little contraption, I'll leave a card in the top right hand corner of this video. I like to keep the substrate as clean as I can in my Stiphodon aquarium. In the wild, these gobies live in really clean Hillstream water. I want to try and replicate this with my gobies. So the more waste I can remove from the aquarium, the cleaner the water is going to be, and the happier the gobies are going to be too. Now I'm going to be tackling that algae that's been growing on the glass of the aquarium. Having algae grow up in an aquarium like this isn't a bad thing. The Stiphodon Gobies constantly graze on biofilm and algae, so this is just a free source of food for them. Especially this really green algae that's been growing recently. They seem to graze on this algae a lot more compared to other algae species. At the moment, I'm just going to use my algae razor blade scraper to remove all the algae. This thing cuts through algae so easily. It makes cleaning the glass so effortless. I like to use a toothbrush to clean the more delicate and hard to reach areas of the tank. With the algae razor blade scraper, you gotta be a little bit careful when you're at the corners of the aquarium. A little risk you might have is you might damage or cut the silicone. So what I like to do is use a toothbrush to clean these areas. The corners of your aquarium is where a lot of dirt and algae can build up, which means you should always try and keep on top of this. The toothbrush is also really useful for cleaning the areas between the glass and the rocks. The brush has a little bit of flexibility, so it lets you get into those hard to reach areas. Now that pretty much all the algae has been cleaned up, it's time to fill the aquarium back up with fresh clean water. I like to try and do regular water changes on this aquarium. When I do these water changes, I aim to do about 25%. Like I mentioned before, these gobies really appreciate clean water. Ideally, the water they're living in should have no ammonia, no nitrate or nitrites in it. I like to try and keep on top of the water quality on this aquarium in particular. With the aquarium all filled back up with water again, it's time to turn everything back on. The water's looking really cloudy right now. This was from when I was disrupting the substrate, so all the waste and detritus have been kicked up into the water column. As the water starts to get filtered, all the debris and detritus will start to get stuck in the filter sponges. This will then help to make the water look a lot more clearer. I didn't clean the lily pipes this time round. My plan is to clean these later on, as I want to make a video on showing you guys how to clean lily pipes. Keep an eye out on the channel if you want to see that video. So just before I show you guys some more footage of the tank, I just want to show you what it looked like when it was first set up. As you can see, when this tank was first set up, it looked very clean and tidy. It was very aesthetically pleasing to look at, but at the same time it was very sterile. It almost looks a bit too clean, making it feel a bit unnatural. Also, you can see how clean the lily pipes are looking right now. When they're this clean in your aquarium, they almost look invisible. It really helps add to the immersion of the aquarium, and it does remind me I should always try to keep the lily pipes as clean as I can. Here is the aquarium about 3 months after it was set up. We're starting to get a little bit of algae growth from the rocks now, which is making things look a lot more natural. In this phase of the aquarium, we start to get a lot of brown diatom algae. This is quite a common algae you see in new setups, but as the aquarium starts to mature, we start to see more green algae appear. At this point, the Stiphodon Gobies really made this aquarium their home. They started to move around the larger pieces of gravel and started to dig lots of little holes around the rocks. Even though there's no plants in this aquarium, it's still interesting to see how it's changing over time. Over the next 3 months, the scape changed quite rapidly in my opinion. Algae completely covers most of the rocks now in the aquarium, but instead of green algae, we've got this weird black grey algae growing. I noticed the Stiphodon Gobies didn't really like grazing on this algae. This means I had to try and supplement their diet with some dry food and live food too. Some of the dry food I'll be feeding them is algae wafers and rapashi soylent green. For live food, I try to feed them bloodworms or brine shrimp. Occasionally it's good to feed these gobies live food, as it helps to vary their diet up a little bit. Here's the scape now at 9 months old. A lot of that weird grey brown algae started to die off now. As this old algae started to die off, green algae started to grow instead. I think this brown grey algae grew quite a lot in my aquarium due to me not having a high light setting. I think because of this it kind of outcompeted the green algae in the aquarium. So what I did is increase the light level on my twin cell to about 75%. I think this has been the best solution as I haven't seen that grey brown algae appear anymore. Finally, now we reach the 12-month mark. This tank has matured so much over the past year. I've now finally got some really good green algae growth on the rocks. It might sound a bit odd for me to be happy about getting green algae in my aquarium, but it's really important for the Stiphodon Gobies. This thick green layer of algae growing on the rocks now makes the whole aquascape look a lot more mature compared to when it was first set up. The rocks in this aquarium now remind me of the ones I would see in rivers in the UK. A couple of years ago I went on a holiday to Scotland. It was a really hot summer that year and we decided to cool off by wading through some streams around the local area. As I was walking throughout the streams I noticed these rocks were really covered in algae. I kind of used this as inspiration for this aquascape. I picked Scottish river boulders as they look very similar to the ones I saw in Scotland. And it turns out when these rocks are covered in algae it looks very similar to the ones I saw in the stream. This aquascape is kind of a little reminder to me of that holiday a few years ago. To finish off this video I wanted to show you guys some extra footage of my Stiphodon Gobies. So I hope you guys enjoyed this 1 year update on my Stiphodon Hillstream Aquarium. It's been really interesting to see how this scape's matured over the year. Hopefully this scape will mature and get even better over time. If you guys enjoyed this update video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel to see more videos.